A strange object from beyond our solar system has just done something no comet, asteroid, or spacecraft in recorded history has ever done. On October 29th, 2025, a mysterious interstellar object, officially named 3I Atlas, passed its closest point to the Sun, known as perihelion. It was just over 203 million kilometers away, nestled between the orbits of Venus and Earth. And that's when it happened. Multiple observatories across the globe recorded a sudden 5-fold increase in brightness. That's not unusual for a comet nearing the Sun, but here's the first twist. Instead of showing a classic dusty tail, it didn't. No debris, no expected outgassing. Just 7 ultrafine symmetrical jets. And the light, bluer than the Sun itself. By November 7th, the object had changed course, very slightly but undeniably. And in a live interview with Newsmax, renowned Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb said what many feared. It maneuvered. Since then, government scientists, private observatories, and independent researchers have been scrambling to answer a question that may redefine how we understand our place in the universe. What exactly is 3I Atlas? And why did its motion affect global atomic clocks by 3 nanoseconds? Yes, you heard that correctly. According to an internal memo from a European timing consortium leaked on November 14th, the passage of 3I Atlas caused a measurable deviation in multiple atomic timekeeping stations, with implications for satellite GPS, quantum experiments, and ultra-precise measurements in physics. 3 nanoseconds doesn't sound like much, but in the world of atomic clocks, it's seismic. Today we're unpacking the full story of 3I Atlas, what we know, what we suspect, and why NASA, Congress, and the scientific community are now in full investigative mode. If you're fascinated by space mysteries, hit that like button. Comment below where you're watching from, because this is no ordinary object. This is the first interstellar body that seems to be interacting. And trust me, what happens on December 19th, 2025, when this object makes its closest pass to Earth, could blow the lid off everything. Let's rewind for a moment. 3I Atlas was first detected by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS, based in Hawaii. That was September 23rd, 2025. At the time, it looked like just another high-velocity object entering the inner solar system at a strange angle. ATLAS tagged it as 3I, meaning it's only the third confirmed interstellar object humanity has ever observed, after 1I Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019. Like those earlier visitors, 3I Atlas was moving far too fast to be gravitationally bound to our Sun. Simulations from NASA's JPL, ESA, and Caltech showed a hyperbolic trajectory, with entry velocity exceeding 150 km/s, 3 times faster than the fastest human-made object. Here's the weird thing. By late October, it wasn't slowing down the way a natural body would. Instead, its trajectory showed subtle lateral movements that didn't align with radiation pressure or solar wind forces. And then came the brightening. Between November 6th and 9th, live feeds from the Virtual Telescope Project in Italy, the Las Vegas Galileo Project Station, and even Chile's Cerro Paranal Observatory showed a spectacular increase in magnitude. Not only was it brighter, it was bluer. For reference, our Sun emits most of its light in the yellow-green part of the spectrum, with an average temperature around 5,778 Kelvin. But spectral analysis of 3I Atlas showed emissions in the shorter wavelength blue bands, despite being significantly cooler than the Sun. This contradicts what we expect from comets, which typically reflect sunlight and glow redder due to dust and carbon-rich materials. Blue light generally indicates higher energy processes or specific ionized metals, which leads us to the next anomaly. By all accounts, 3I Atlas should have a coma, a glowing gas envelope, and a tail caused by solar radiation blowing dust particles away from its nucleus. But high-resolution infrared and optical scans from SOHO, Spitzer, and James Webb's NERCam show no classic tail structure. Instead, astronomers noted 7 sharply collimated jets, emitting in symmetrical directions from a fuzzy, nickel-rich core. According to early analysis from ESA's Rosetta comparison models, the jets would require internal pressure or propulsion to stay that organized over such distances. What surprised many was the material itself. Based on spectroscopy from NASA's Infrared Telescope Facility, IRTF, in Hawaii, the object is, rich in nickel, poor in iron, lacking in common cometary volatiles like CO2 and H2O. So now we're left with something bluer than the sun, faster than our rockets, and more organised than any natural debris ball we've ever tracked. And then on November 7th, Dr. Loeb publicly stated, "It manoeuvred." In his now viral Newsmax interview, Avi Loeb explained that the object's path had deviated in a way that couldn't be explained by solar radiation pressure alone. According to NASA JPL's updated orbital solution, the change occurred over a 24-hour period, suggesting an active ejection of material, but one that was not accompanied by visible loss of mass or fragmentation. Loeb's theory. This could be artificial. We may be looking at a probe or a fragment of one. Within 48 hours, Representative Anna Paulina Luna issued a request for a congressional briefing. She cited the need for public transparency, particularly regarding imagery captured by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter's HiRISE camera, which reportedly snapped high-res photos of 3I Atlas when it was between Earth and Mars. So far, NASA has declined to release those images. But behind the scenes, things were heating up. On November 14th, a private internal report leaked from a European atomic timekeeping network. It claimed that multiple atomic clock systems registered a 3 nanosecond deviation correlated with the passage of 3I Atlas through a specific gravitational corridor. This included data from ESA's ESTEC Timing Lab, Germany's PTB, Physikalische Technische Bundesanstalt, France's Observatoire de Paris. At first, the anomaly was dismissed as a calibration error, but secondary confirmation from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST in the US, suggested the shift was real. The exact cause? Unknown. What terrified some physicists wasn't the size of the shift, but the fact that it was globally synchronized. That implies an external influence on Earth's timing systems, something almost never seen outside of massive solar flares, or GRBs. But there was no solar flare. No gamma burst, just 3I Atlas. To cause a 3 nanosecond deviation across multiple synchronized timing arrays, an object would have to interact with Earth's electromagnetic or gravitational field in a way no natural body has been recorded doing. Dr. Jean Moreau, a timing systems specialist with the French CNRS, called it an unprecedented temporal ripple. Some theories propose that 3I Atlas emits high-frequency electromagnetic pulses, too subtle to register on traditional wideband detectors, but strong enough to interfere with ultra-precise oscillations in cesium or rubidium clocks. Others suggest gravitational lensing effects from the object's unusual mass density distribution may have produced a temporary dilation effect in satellite-based timing relays. But these are just theories, because as of this moment, no one has found the mechanism. And remember, this isn't just an obscure lab issue. Atomic clocks power GPS, telecommunications, financial trades, nuclear systems, and deep space communications. A rogue object shifting Earth's global time by even fractions of a nanosecond is a serious event. All eyes are now on December 19th, 2025. That's when 3I Atlas will make its closest pass to Earth, skimming our planet's orbit at a distance of roughly 78 million kilometers, closer than Mars. The Galileo project's Las Vegas Observatory will be running 24/7 imaging. NASA's Deep Space Network will attempt radar ping returns. ESA's Gaia will observe for trajectory curvature in real time, and high-frequency receivers across the globe, set up by private radio astronomers, are now tuned to detect any anomalous signal or patterned emission. Could 3I Atlas be transmitting? Could this be the first interstellar artifact we intercept while it's still active? Or is it something far stranger? What if this object wasn't just passing by? What if it was sent? If you're just joining us, or if your jaw is still on the floor, let's catch you up. An interstellar object called 3I Atlas is approaching Earth. It has no tail, emits blue light despite being colder than the sun, maneuvered against gravity, and possibly altered our atomic clocks by 3 nanoseconds. Not to mention, high-resolution imagery from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has still not been released, and Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb has confirmed the object is exhibiting signs of intelligent propulsion. As of now, we are just days away from its closest approach on December 19th, 2025. And the strange behaviours keep coming. Using data pulled from NASA's JPL Horizons database, astronomers have traced the object's path across the sky using tools like SkyEye and Stellarium. Here's the interesting part. On December 13th, 3i Atlas will pass directly across the Sagittarius constellation just above the galactic centre. Now, this in itself isn't shocking. The object is simply following a path consistent with a hyperbolic orbit. But from our Earth-based perspective, it appears to pause for nearly 18 hours over a single celestial coordinate, a strange optical illusion caused by orbital dynamics and Earth's rotation. But during this pause, multiple amateur radio astronomers have reported something peculiar, a drop in background cosmic noise. Normally, the galactic centre produces a rich field of radio frequency static, caused by dense gas clouds and magnetic phenomena. But starting December 11th, several amateur arrays in Australia, Chile, and northern Canada have detected a flat line in part of the 21 cm hydrogen band, centred directly where 3i Atlas will hover. Coincidence? Or is 3i Atlas absorbing or masking radio emissions? As one observer put it, it's like something cast a cone of silence over part of the galaxy. This effect is not something observed during previous passes of Oumuamua or Borisov, and yet here we are, with a nickel-rich object with no tail, actively suppressing part of our radio sky. While no intentional signal has yet been decoded, data from SETI Home and Breakthrough Listen show a rise in non-random radio patterns within the 4.83 GHz band during 3i Atlas's brightening window in early November. What makes this important? The 4.83 GHz band sits within what radio astronomers call the water hole, a quiet range between 1 and 10 GHz, considered ideal for interstellar communication due to low cosmic background noise. Signals in this band typically don't occur naturally, unless caused by rapid electron transitions or technologically modulated bursts. While no formal statement has been made, leaked logs from SETI Institute operations in Mountain View, California, dated November 8th, describe a cluster of modulated pings matching no known satellite, planetary or solar origin. Target track correlated with 3i Atlas. That's not proof of communication, but it is proof of something unusual, especially since the pattern disappeared just 12 hours later. Dr. Gianluca Massi, director of the Virtual Telescope Project in Italy, noted, whether it's a coincidence, reflection, or active transmission remains unclear, but this object is not behaving like anything we've catalogued before. Let's break down the possibilities as presented in a Harvard Symposium panel held on November 18, 2025. Option 1, natural comet arguments for. The jets could be explained by localized subsurface volatiles. The blue spectrum might be a product of specific rare elements fluorescing. Arguments against no tail, no dust. Nickel-rich but low iron? That's not a cometary signature. Arguments for metallic composition fits. Could be a fragment from another system. Arguments against no known asteroid emits symmetrical jets. It maneuvered. Arguments for jet symmetry. Sudden acceleration. Tail absence. Atomic clock interference. Radio anomalies. Arguments against no clearly readable signal. No structure visible in current images. The most mysterious thing, said Loeb during that panel, is not what 3i Atlas is, but why it behaves as if it has intent. Let's talk visuals. The high-rise camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has a resolution of 0.3 meters per pixel at planetary orbit distances. According to flight path logs, it captured a series of 6 images of 3i Atlas during its pass between Earth and Mars on October 30th and November 1st. But none of those images have been released to the public. Instead, NASA issued a statement on November 10th saying, "Imagery is under internal review due to signal noise and calibration artifacts." Translation, we saw something we don't understand, and we're not ready to talk about it. This has triggered calls for transparency from several public figures, including Congressman Tim Burchett, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who filed a Freedom of Information Act request demanding release. In a letter to the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Luna wrote, "If this object is technological, then withholding data from the public violates both scientific ethics and national interest." Let's return to that unusual colour. Normally, Objects that glow blue are hotter, like blue stars, tens of thousands of degrees Kelvin. But 3i Atlas has been consistently measured at below 2000 K, yet emits a spectral peak bluer than the Sun. Physicists suggest three main possibilities. Selective scattering. The object's jets might scatter blue wavelengths preferentially, similar to how Earth's sky appears blue. Photonic re-emission. Exotic materials could absorb solar energy and re-emit at shorter wavelengths. Artificial illumination. If the object emits controlled bursts of photonic radiation, possibly for communication or navigation. But there's a bigger concern. If the object is cooler than the Sun, why is it emitting light more energetic than what it receives? That breaks the second law of thermodynamics, unless it has an internal power source. And if it does, we may not be dealing with a rock or snowball. We may be watching a functioning machine. We're now approaching the climax date of this entire story. That's when 3i Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth, and here's what's scheduled. NASA's Goldstone radar array will attempt to return ping. James Webb will aim its spectrograph at the object's jets. The Galileo project will deploy 2 atmospheric balloons with high-sensitivity optical gear from Nevada and New Mexico. SETI will activate its Allen Telescope Array for live listening. ESA's OPS-SRT nanosatellite will test an experimental imaging filter from low Earth orbit. Depending on weather, timing, and technical conditions, we may get a direct visual map of the object's structure. There are 4 main possibilities researchers are watching for. Natural fragmentation. Object breaks apart from stress. Comet theory validated. Controlled emission. Jets change configuration. Probe theory strengthened. No activity. Object dims and flies by, raises more questions than answers. Secondary release. Smaller bodies eject. Possibility of deployed drones or artifacts. Whatever happens, by December 20th, we'll either have clarity or even more mystery. So let's ask the question hanging in everyone's mind. Could this be a probe? And if so, who or what sent it? Dr. Loeb has suggested that 3i Atlas may be part of a dormant interstellar fleet, activating only when near stars or habitable planets. Others believe we're seeing the aftermath of a failed alien craft, ejected from another star system millions of years ago. Still others think it's a warning system, a silent observer drifting through the galaxy, watching, recording, maybe even testing. Whatever it is, it's unlike anything we've seen. And on December 19th, we'll be watching. The question is, will it watch us back? Before we can understand what 3i Atlas is, we need to understand where it came from. Astronomers at Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, ESO, and NASA's Deep Space Network backtracked its incoming path using orbital simulations and JPL Horizons data. What they found was chilling. The object entered the solar system at an angle nearly coplanar with the planetary orbital plane, which is already unusual. Interstellar objects generally don't follow our neat planetary alignment. They slice in at extreme inclinations. Yet this one glided in like it knew the layout. But here's where it gets weirder. Its approach vector came within 9 degrees of the origin point of the legendary 1977 WOW signal, a mysterious narrowband radio burst still unexplained to this day. That's not definitive proof of a connection, but in cosmic terms, 9 degrees is not far. In fact, it's tight enough to suggest a common point of origin in the Hercules constellation. The WOW signal lasted just 72 seconds. This object is giving us months of data. Could 3i Atlas be a physical counterpart to that long-debated signal, or a second attempt at contact? Dr. Alessandro Venti, an astrodynamicist with the European Southern Observatory, puts it plainly, if this is coincidence, it's a magnificent one. But if it's not, then the signal may not have been the message. This object might be. Let's revisit the most visual feature of 3i Atlas. Its 7 jets. High-contrast images from the Virtual Telescope project and deblurred infrared enhancements from NASA IRTF show the jets arranged in a hexagonal radial pattern with one central plume. Why is that important? Because in known cometary physics, jets form randomly along weak crust regions. They don't form in perfect geometries, and they rarely hold symmetry as the object rotates. But 3i Atlas's jets have not shifted, even after weeks of sunlight exposure, and rotational changes. Using Fourier pattern analysis, researchers at Caltech Optical Computing Lab identified consistent pulsing intervals in the brightness of each jet, with timing differences in precise multiples of 11.3 seconds. This isn't just aesthetic. Several computer scientists in the SETI community now believe that this jet activity may contain encoded information, similar to optical Morse code or rotational binary. A Reddit user from the r/astrotech community even charted the light pulses and produced what appears to be a repeating 9-symbol pattern. We're not saying it's a message, but what if it is? What if these aren't just jets? What if they're intentional emissions, designed to be observed, interpreted, and understood? Back in 2017, the world was shocked by the arrival of 1E Oumuamua. It was long, thin, tumbling. It accelerated, just slightly, without outgassing. And then it left. At the time, Avi Loeb made headlines suggesting it might be a light sail, a thin, non-natural object pushed by solar radiation. His claims were controversial. Many scientists rejected the idea outright. But with 3i Atlas, the story has come full circle. Oumuamua came silently, behaved strangely, then disappeared. 3i Atlas came louder, behaved even stranger, and is staying longer. And unlike Oumuamua, we are getting multispectral data, optical footage, and possibly even radar imagery. More than a few researchers have quietly admitted that 3i Atlas might be the controlled version of what we saw in 2017. Think of it this way. Oumuamua was a flyby, 3i Atlas is a fly-through. And if it has intelligence behind it, then it's doing one thing better than we are: watching and learning. On December 2nd, a team from JPL working in coordination with the Chinese Chang'e Deep Space Tracking Network released a cryptic update in their internal circular. Using Doppler radar echo timings and light curve modelling, they detected that 3i Atlas may have increased its reflective cross-section by 6% in just 10 days. Translation: it might be changing shape, or it might be deploying something. Mass estimates based on solar momentum exchange also appear inconsistent. Originally estimated at around 3.2 × 10^12 km, new models suggest a possible gain, or redistribution, of mass. This shouldn't be possible unless it's ejecting mass and then reacquiring material through magnetic or gravitational interaction. The object is opening, extending, or deploying panels or structures. Or, worst case, we're watching an active process, like scanning, sampling, or seeding. It behaves like something preparing to do something, said Loeb during a Galileo project briefing on December 4th. On December 6th, multiple congressional aides leaked that a classified briefing on 3i Atlas was held on Capitol Hill under the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Attendees reportedly included representatives from NASA Space Force, FAA, NOAA, and surprisingly, DARPA no public minutes have been released. But Anna Paulina Luna emerged from the meeting with one sentence: "The American people deserve to see the images." This sparked an overnight social campaign under the hashtag #JamReleaseTheFlyby. Since then, FOIA requests have flooded NASA and the Department of Defense. No responses have been issued, but something tells us the clock is ticking, and that brings us to the most critical question yet. Let's be clear. 3i Atlas will not hit Earth. Its closest pass on December 19th is a safe 78 million kilometers away. But proximity is not the only concern. If this object is emitting high-energy particles, modulated radio, or even unknown radiation types, the impact on Earth's upper ionosphere could be measurable. Satellite operators from Starlink, OneWeb, and Iridium have been quietly advised to monitor low Earth orbit signal integrity during the 48-hour window around the close approach. One internal document from the European Space Operations Centre recommends enhanced atmospheric modelling in case of anomalous magnetospheric coupling. In plain English, they're not just watching it, they're preparing for it to do something. Could this include temporarily disrupting Earth's magnetic field, triggering auroral anomalies, interfering with timing satellites again? We don't know. But when atomic clocks across 3 continents shifted last time, and no natural explanation fit, we'd be foolish not to prepare. Here's the big curveball. Data miners combing through archived sky surveys from Pan-STARRS, WISE, and the Sloan Digital Sky Survey have found faint tracks suggesting similar objects may have entered the solar system before. In 2004, a now dismissed object known as 2004 RUB354c was logged briefly before vanishing into deep space. Its trajectory, retroactively estimated within 13 degrees of the WOW signal's origin. Could we be in the path of multiple interstellar visitors, all following a similar route? Could 3i Atlas be just one in a sequence, a chain of probes or scouts from a system much farther than we've imagined? Dr. Emily Sang, astrophysicist at MIT, warned in a December 9th interview, "The more we examine past sky maps, the more it seems we've been visited before. We just didn't know how to look." As of now, a coordinated global event is scheduled for. A 12-hour live stream simulation will be run across NASA TV European Space Agency, YouTube Galileo Project's Open Dashboard, SkyEye Interactive Viewer. During the session, experts from Harvard, JPL, ESA, and SETI will overlay trajectory simulations, radiation tracking, spectral evolution, clock stability data, live telescope images. They'll also run crowdsourced decoding sessions for the jet-like patterns, inviting the public to join the effort. This marks a turning point. The first time in human history we may watch a technological interstellar object up close. So, what do we make of all this? An object enters our system without warning, becomes brighter, bluer, and jet active, maneuvers against gravitational predictions, possibly disrupts atomic time, is being watched by every space agency on Earth, and may transmit in modulated pulses. And now, it's coming closer. Soon. The question isn't just, what is it? It's, why is it here? And more pressingly, what happens next? 3i Atlas is at its closest approach to Earth, just over 78 million kilometres away, nearer than Mars. And right now, every major observatory, telescope, and deep space radar on Earth is locked onto a single target. Goldstone dishes in California are tracking its return radar signals. James Webb's infrared spectrograph is focused on the jet structure. The Allen Telescope Array is listening for anomalies. Galileo Project's Nevada and New Mexico launch teams have released their optical sensor balloons into the stratosphere. NASA JPL has assigned real-time analysis teams. Harvard's Galileo dashboard is live and ticking. And so far, the object has done something no one expected, and everyone feared. At 0316 UTC, live feed imagery from the Virtual Telescope Project and ESA's FlyEye Observatory in Sicily confirmed. 3i Atlas split into three distinct parts. The object, once a compact fuzzy core, now displays a central body flanked by two symmetrical fragments, moving in parallel formation, no tumbling, and emitting synchronized jets. The brightness of each segment pulses in perfect rhythm, every 11.3 seconds. If that number sounds familiar, it should. It's the same interval identified in the jet modulation pattern back in November. Not only did it split, but it repeated its earlier behavior with precision. This wasn't random fragmentation. This wasn't stress rupture. This looked like activation. No natural object splits evenly, synchronizes emissions, and maintains formation like this, said Dr. Loeb in a stunned interview minutes after the observation. This is the moment we've been waiting for, and we were right to prepare. As the three-body configuration stabilised, ground-based interferometers, particularly Chile's ALMA array and France's LOFAR receiver stations, picked up a sharp increase in radio spectrum activity. A focused signal, narrow bandwidth, repeating once every 13.92 seconds, began to pulse from the lead body. This signal was highly collimated, repeating with clockwork precision, absent from background radiation. Directed roughly along the ecliptic plane, i.e., toward Earth SETI's report. This is not random noise. The signal matches no known astrophysical process or solar interaction. Its energy profile is structured. At the same time, NASA's atomic time servers, located in Boulder, Colorado, registered another global deviation, this time 2.1 nanoseconds. That makes two temporal distortions, both correlated with changes in 3i Atlas's structure. What could do this? A field, a modulation of spacetime, or something we haven't even discovered yet. Within an hour of the pulse beginning, data scientists across the globe, amateurs and professionals alike, began attempting to decode it. One breakthrough came from a Polish quantum researcher named Marta Kowalska, who noticed that the signal's frequency spectrum matched prime number intervals. In other words, the pulse sequence wasn't just rhythmic, it was mathematically intentional. Prime numbers are a universal signature of intelligence. They're not produced naturally in symmetrical pulse emissions. Could it be a beacon? A message? Some even speculate that the three-part object configuration is a modular probe. One craft for observation, one for transmission, one for measurement. Dr. Gianluca Massi said on the live stream, "We may not be alone, but more importantly, we were noticed." Let's break down the four most serious theories circulating among astrophysicists, SETI researchers, and advanced propulsion analysts. 3i Atlas is a technological scout, launched long ago from another star system. Its goal? Quiet surveillance. Support? Directional movement synchronized jet pattern. Behavior similar to intelligent systems. High-speed entry along galactic trajectories. Purpose? Mapping planets. Testing for radio-emitting civilizations. Sending data back to origin system, possibly via entanglement or modulated light. Implication? We have been watched, and they know we're watching back. 3i Atlas is not active, but rather a relic, a technological fragment from a lost civilization. Support? No direct communication emission could be decay. Byproduct jet formation is a self-regulating decomposition or long-failed guidance system. Purpose? Unintentional arrival due to star system ejection. Implication? The galaxy is littered with ancient relics, and this is the first one close enough to study. 3i Atlas is one of many relay nodes, networked probes distributed across space, possibly by AI, that activate when proximity to complex life is detected. Support? Jet behavior as signal amplification, prime number pulses as handshake protocol, two splits as data distribution strategy. Purpose? Relay signal home or activate a larger network. Implication? We triggered something. And now we wait for the response. This is a natural object, but its behavior is so strange that it forces a redefinition of physics. Support? Might be a rare, nickel-rich interstellar comet, jets driven by trapped exotic volatiles or quantum phase minerals. Atomic clock shifts are due to rare gravitational harmonics. Purpose? None. It's an anomaly. Implication? The universe holds materials, forces, and patterns we have never imagined. Nature still humbles us. So what happens next? The split fragments are still emitting. The pulse continues. Atomic timing labs are monitoring for more disturbances. NASA has acknowledged it will declassify the high-rise flyby images. On January 9, 2026, the Galileo project is planning a ground-based laser experiment to attempt signal feedback toward 3i Atlas. ESA and JAXA have proposed an emergency probe concept to intercept the object by late 2027 using slingshot maneuvers. And in the meantime, philosophers, poets, journalists, and everyday citizens are asking, did we just witness first contact? Was that the handshake? Or was it just a test to see if we're ready? Here's something to consider. For decades, we've been asking, is anyone out there? But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the correct question is, are we worth responding to? Think about it. What if 3i Atlas wasn't a probe to discover life, but to test the level of awareness, the coordination, and the cooperation of the civilizations it passes? Who detects it? Who watches? Who decodes the signal? Who panics and who listens? In the cosmic classroom, maybe we were just handed a quiz, and now someone else is reading our answers. If you've been watching this story unfold with us through mystery, science, fear, and fascination, thank you. We are witnessing a moment in history that no textbook can explain. And it's not over. On January 9th, the high-rise images are scheduled for public release. On March 16th, the Juno intercept trajectory becomes viable. More signals, more anomalies, and more data are expected. So if you want to follow this story as it continues to unfold, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We'll be breaking down every update, decoding every pulse, and explaining the science as it happens. What do you think 3i Atlas is? A machine? A message? A warning? Or something we've never imagined? Leave a comment. I read every single one, and I truly want to know what you believe. Because the countdown to the unknown has begun, and this time we're all part of the signal.